Now, this is our personal finance segment where we will give you all the tips to make your financial life stable. And it's holding with Charles Fakoha. Today we'll be talking about financial abuse. Good morning, and thank you for having to always come and do this with us and teach us some things we need to know in keeping our finances intact all the time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning,
Margaret.
Good
morning. Something.
All right.
Is it just teaching us about finances?
Implementing
it and also becoming financially literate. But I wasn't too happy yesterday when I went to do some things, and the information I got, I wasn't too happy. You know, does your partner steal from you? Does your partner forces you to have access to your bank account and do transactions without you having any input? Does your partner prevent you from working? Does your partner prevent you from your relations? Does your partner prevent you from having friends? Does your partner steals from you? Does your partner uses money, finances, to control you, put you on an allowance, and when he sees one or two little things that you have bought, he gets annoyed? Has one of us come across such a thing? That is one form of financial abuse. And it is so subtle that people in it don't even know that they have been abused financially. Not only their spouse, people even close to them. And we all keep shouting, domestic abuse, while financial abuse is killing both men and women. Those who are married, those who are not married, on a daily basis, they are dying. And you see that they are even afraid or ashamed of even talking about it. A woman came to us yesterday after married for over 20 years, and she said till today, as soon as she collects her salary, she transfers everything to the husband. And the man does not even allow her to know anything concerning the household budget. If she wants to buy anything, she has to go and kneel down for the man to give her the money. And she's the one that is even working. The man tells her, I married you, it's a favor I've done to you. This is emotional abuse. And today we see a lot of women in that situation, and they can't come out and speak. And of course, those of us who are saying coalition against domestic violence, we don't see that aspect of that type of abuse. We don't see it. Or when we say, okay, if he raises your hand, run. And the abuser, they are so skillful, they are so smart, that the way they will do it, you are so dependent on them. They have cut off your financial freedom. They have cut off your support system, that you can't even live because you are afraid. If you live, you can't survive on your own. They've made you so believe that without them you can't do anything. And today, we are seeing people shouting all over the place. Oshinashi is dead. Sorry, I got the name correctly? Oshinashi is dead. So many. Oh, domestic violence. Before it got to that level, there was financial abuse.
Okay, I mean, this is a sad, it's
yes,
also
that's the reality.
It's also one that is really, engaging. It's provocating
Exactly.
in that sense. So it would lead to the question: what does financial abuse entail? I'm sure it's not just within the scope of marriage. Even outside marriage,
exactly,
you have financial abuse. So for the sake of our viewers, kindly elucidate what does financial abuse entail?
When we say financial abuse, just like any other abuse, is one, somebody steals money from you.
Okay.
Somebody uses money to control you.
Okay.
Then somebody puts you on an allowance. Then they forces you to do certain things you wouldn't want to do, but they threaten you. If you don't do this, I won't give you this money. A father can use it on the child. A father can use it on his wife. Friends can use it on each other. Employers can use it on the employee. So like you said, I agree with you. It is not only for spouses. It's friends, people close to you can abuse you financially. A friend can come, have access to your bank account and do transactions without your input. That's financial abuse.
But now you've mentioned how we can identify what financial abuse is, but how can we avoid it? Avoid, maybe for lack of better word, because for some people we love, and care about, it's difficult to want to say no to them. Because now when your son is coming, and you know some people are very skillful and they just come in a very cunning manner, and then not knowing they're trying to gain entrance into your finances. For someone you really love and care about, probably you're someone who has an open heart and is willing to help. So how, no, saying no is something people have not really come to master, the act of saying no and standing by their no without being seen as wicked. So how can we, maybe the question now should be, how can we even master the act of having to say no, even when we genuinely care about those people, just so we are not financially abused?
Okay. Now, you've asked so many questions at the same time. Let's look at it from this way. You know, yes, let's say you are a spouse now, or let's say somebody close to you, not, let me don't use spouse, and this person keeps stealing money from you. Of course, you will notice it, you won't say anything. And each time they have problems, financial problems, they come to you because you cannot say no. They already know. You give it to them. Even when they go and do certain things, get themselves involved, maybe take a loan, you know, then they run to you. And when you are trying to refuse, they blackmail you emotionally. Some start crying, saying all sorts of things, saying this will be the last time. Like you said, because you are a very nice person, you give it to them. These are signs of somebody abusing you financially. You are trying to assist them to get a job. They are not interested. They just want you to keep. They manipulate you, emotionally blackmail you, and you keep giving them. So you would think you are doing something good, but at the end of the day, they are manipulating you, and at the same time, they are abusing you financially. Yes.
Okay. So you can continue with your line of thought.
So my concern now, my problem now is people who are saying coalition against domestic violence, which also include this coalition against financial abuse. Because it starts from financial abuse. Gradually, physical abuse will not come in. Reproductive abuse will also come in. Sexual and physical abuse will also come in. Before we know, it's the end product we are seeing. I'm sorry to use the Shinanshi case. That was the end product. She has been abused severally in terms of finances. I also understand that if she goes to perform in any occasion, they will pay the money to the husband. That's financial abuse. We are not saying couples should not have joint accounts. Yes, but two of you must communicate and agree. But this one, it tells you, let's have a joint account. And you agree. Then he's making a lot of spending, and they will not want to even show you the account. You inquire, it tells you all sorts of things. I brought you from the gutter. I married you and did you a favor. You. And the bad thing is, most of these abusers, they have no self-esteem. They're just trying to cover up. So they do everything possible so that you don't come to that realization. And they know if you come to realize, you will leave that relationship. So they do everything to make sure that you don't have your finances in place.
But it's only spouses that do that. Some employers also do that.
Yes, we have said so. Employers can do it against the employee. You know, you have worked and they will deliberately. In fact, I've seen some employers, they will deliberately delay your payment. And they will even pay some other persons. They will not even pay one or two persons. Yes. They want you now to come and meet them and say, okay, since this is, I have this bill coming up, they will be happy. Okay.
To say thank you to them.
Yes, they will be happy and they now approve. It's your money, they will be happy and now give it to you as a loan. You say, it's a soft loan, no interest. But it is your money. That is a financial abuse.
So for all of these, various aspects of financial abuse, be it within marriage, within the workplace or social interactions and what have you, how can we, avoid them, or rather, how can we move out of them?
And let's identify the signs first.
Okay.
What are the signs? Because like I said, because there is no violence. Most of the time, they don't use violence. They just use emotion. The young man can even cry. And I tell the young lady, if they are not even married, you go and buy flower for her. Meanwhile, if you have used a card or whatever to pay for something, and she's seen all the debit, and she calls his attention, after us, are we not going to get married? They just unnecessary flaying up. it's all part of the scheme, you know. So what are some of the signs we need to look out for? Because there's no violence. However, like I said, if we get to the extreme case, they might not want to. If they see now you are trying to resist, they might not want to use violence on you. And of course, they will start with your family. They prevent your family members from coming to visit you. You are at work, he's calling you 10 times a day just to distract you. You are talking to somebody, who's that on the phone? It's all part of the abuse. You inherit something from your father or from your family, is coercing you to put it in his name or both of your names. You know, making you look as if without him you cannot survive. So what are some of the signs we have to see? And one thing we have discovered with this research is you don't have to have all those signs or symptoms. If you have one or two, then you should know that you are being abused
financially.
So the thing is, you don't even know. That is the worst part of it. One, your partner or whoever withholds financial information from you.
Okay.
Two of you have a joint account. It doesn't want you to even see the expenses he's doing. But when you make any expenses, it will demand that you provide all the receipts, even to the last kobo. He sees a new dress on you or a new tie in case of, it flees up. We are managing. Why did you go and buy all these things? Meanwhile, if you look at him, you are just afraid to even ask him for certain finance because you can say this is the way he's going to react. Two, your partner discourages you from having a job. Discourage you from. You say, this young woman went to university now. At first, he'll tell you, don't bother, I'll take care of you. It's all a ploy. Because he does not want you to leave that relationship. Okay. And once you get into that relationship, you might not be married though. He'll say, don't worry, I'll take care of you. Yes, initially, they might start taking care of you. When you have, settled, then it will now start. Because he does not want you to leave that relationship. And you remain there. It cuts off all your financial supplies, all your freedom. So even when you want to live on your own, you will consider. I know in the African tradition, let's say you are married, your parents will tell you that your room is no longer vacant again. So you're in a dilemma. You can't even go back. You remain in that abusive relationship. So that's number two. But if you have gone to school, you have a skill, why would somebody prevent you from going to have a job or starting your own business? Another sign you will see again, they might have a business. They are doing well, though. They have a business. They will force you to work in their business. And they will pay you nothing or very little. Because it's not the family business. And you know your worth, what you are contributing to that business. You have other employees that they are paying, but for you, they won't pay you. You say, after us, is it not what we are using to maintain their house? But forgetting that there is nothing like Mr. and Mrs. We are all individuals. Another one again is your spouse. Okay, your partner limits your spending. We have mentioned it. They place you on an allowance. And when you go just a dime above that allowance, they get annoyed. Meanwhile, it is good when spouse, let me use for spouse now, when they have a joint account. Everybody should see what is going out and what is coming in. And you also agree, you communicate. Yes, for our expenses, for my personal allowance, this is the amount. If you don't agree, then he or she has no right to force that allowance on you. Because relationship, marriage is about communication. The two parties are equal. But in this financial abuse, we see that there is power play. One person has more power than the other. It might not even be the one providing the finances. You might be the one providing the money. Like the example we gave earlier. As soon as she takes her salary, she gets the alerts, and he knows. He will just call her. So she's transferring immediately. It has become normal for her. It prevents her from having friends because he knows that, or he or she, pardon me if I use the hair, he or she knows that by the time you make friends, you will discuss, and certain things will come up. They don't want you.
All right, for the want of time, we just have like a few more minutes to go. So maybe you just tell us
things to be done.
Things to be done, okay.
Okay, what are the things you need to do? The first thing you need to do, of course, in any abusive relationship, is to let go and just leave. Just let go and leave. Some persons will attack me. If they are married, are you trying to encourage divorce and separation and all that? And I'm saying, you don't need to wait for financial abuse to get to the extreme where violence comes in. And when violence comes in, the next thing is death. Yeah. So just let go and leave.
All right.
If it's within the workplace?
Yes?
If it's within the workplace, that will require the staff leaving?
Of course. You leave.
Okay. And you don't have other jobs elsewhere?
You will get.
Okay.
See a therapist. Then you can also repair and maintain that your support system.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I would encourage every parent, if your son or daughter is in a relationship and there is financial abuse and they are trying to come back to your house, please accept them. Then you should also improve on your own financial literacy, so that by the time you leave that relationship, you can stand on your feet. Yes, it's not going to be easy. You must have lost so many things.
Okay.
But once you have that, your dignity with you, you can start all over. And that is what is going to take us to our next series of discussion, which I said, finance in marriages. Before you say I do, there are certain things that you need to discuss concerning your finances, because two of you are coming from different backgrounds, and you need to understand. You could be a spender, you could be a saver. You came from a home where money wasn't an issue. He came from a home where money was a problem. For two of you now coming together, there must be conflicts. So, in our next series of discussion, we will be looking at finance in marriages. But before I stop, I will say, marriage is a sweet thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, I like that part. Thank you so much, Charles Fakura, for that conversation.
It's always a pleasure.
We'll take a short break now. When we come back, this is a segment that you shouldn't always miss. Every segment is important, but some segments is something that is life-changing, and if you apply it, trust me, you have good results. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we have the sports segment, social media buzz, then wrap up the show for the day. Stay with us.